a sharp knife, we're going to test it out on a tomato. Tomatoes are great to test on a sharp knife because if it's not sharp, you'll know instantly.
It bruises, doesn't it?
It does bruise. It won't cut through the skin. And look at that, it's beautiful. So that's exactly what I want. Now we're going to do a simple dice, which you can use for salsas, for tomato sauce, a whole range of different things in salads and so forth. So now that you have it, you have your tomato.
Seeds in or seeds out?
I think I'm going to do seeds out.
Seeds out, okay.
We'll take the top off the tomato. So if I cut it like this, it's on a really wobbly surface. So we just turn it down and it's really nice and stable. So if you're not feeling overly confident, this is the best way to start. Okay, we're just going to cut it in half and then I'm going to turn it around. So we've got a tomato in half and we're going to cut it in half again to make quarters. Okay, now we have our quarters and we have our seeds all stuck in the middle there. And what we're going to do with the tip of our knife is we're going to follow this lovely little line around, and in one foul swoop, we're going to take those seeds out. And sometimes it has a lot of residue, a lot of water, so you just put your thumb in there and just flick it out. Okay, so now we have the tomato without the seeds. For some reason, a lot of people hate the seeds.
It makes it watery, especially when you're doing a nice little garnish on a plate. If you want to sprinkle some little chopped tomato with some parsley or basil, a very neat little salsa. If you have the seeds, it just seems to go watery all over the plate.
That's true. Okay, so now we have our really nice tomato skin, and what we're going to do is we're going to make lovely thin strips. Now the best way to do it is to put the point of your knife down, and we're going to guide it back with your hand, okay? So we're not going to actually take the point off the board, we're just going to guide it back. And this is a great way to start using a really sharp knife. You can go straight down into it, but you're going to blunt it faster than if you just drag it across. So what we have now is some evenly shaped strips. Turn them around to make a dice, and the same method, we're just going to point the knife down and drag it back with your hand.
When you're dragging it back, it's a lot safer because you can watch the knife come towards you.
Exactly.
Where if you're pushing it away, it hides your fingers. So it's a lot
Pushing
cleaner.
it away is for when you've done it 100 times and you're feeling like you want to go that next step further. But if you're totally new and you want to learn a good basic technique, put your tip of the knife down and just drag it back. And you'll actually get faster as you go. And then you'll actually want to move into another action.
Okay, I'm going to do just a basic cucumber. I want to show you your finger positions in where to keep your fingers safe, because it does hurt a little bit when you go chopping the end of nails off. So what we got is just a little telegraph cucumber, Lebanese cucumber.
I know, I was just like, that's a funny looking telegraph.
Oh, it's a long day. Okay, I've just lightly peel it, because too much peel can be a little bit overpowering, can be quite chewy, fibrous. What I'm going to do is just cut the ends off. Cut it lengthways, and again, just like Camilla did, we've got it working on a flat surface. Now the idea is you want to just put the knife up against the little fleshy bit just above your nail, but your nail has to be bent. Especially women that have got long fingernails, they tend to want to slide the knife down the edge of the fingernail. So if you slightly bend, you can use one finger or you can use two. I use one, but the other one's there to stabilize. What you want to do is just slowly, as long as that knife is touching the little fleshy bit and it's bent in, that holds the knife in place. You get nice even cuts. Now your thumb, he tends to want to move in front, just naturally. Once he's been cut a couple of times, he does learn. But if you want to teach him early, push him behind and he acts as the speed control. So if you had your thumb up in the air and you try to drag your fingers back, it's not even. It's very sporadic. So the thumb acts as the back and then pulls the finger towards the thumb. And then once you get to the thumb, he just gives a little push until there's nothing left to cut.
Right, so we're going to be cutting a carrot. Now, before we do anything, what I like to do is make sure my board is stable. Because the carrot is a hard vegetable, you're more likely to cut yourself because it's not quite stable. So the first thing you have to look at is your board, okay? Make sure you have a cloth or chucks or something that's damp underneath it that can react to your board, whether it's plastic, wooden, whatever it is. It's got to be able to keep it in place. If your board is unstable, when you start chopping, because you're putting a bit of pressure on it, it's going to just fly everywhere and you're more likely to cut yourself. So our basic carrot, we'll just peel it down. We don't leave the skin on because it gets really dark, especially in a salad. So we just take that skin off. Now, when you start cutting a carrot, always start by taking the ends off. And again, that same action, the point of the knife down. And this time we're going to put the carrot all the way up to the base of the knife. And we're just going to have one push down. Sometimes you can cut it with the front of the knife, but it's not stable, okay? So you've got more chances, you're exerting more pressure, and it's just, what's the point? So again, back of the knife, tip down, and you just chop off the end.
Now the good thing about, we've already sharpened our knife. So
yes.
A sharp knife goes exactly where you want it to go.
Exactly.
You're more than likely to cut yourself with a blunt knife
yes.
because it doesn't go where you want it to go. It moves away because it's blunt.
Exactly.
So now Camilla's got a beautiful sharp knife. It's easy to use.
And the other thing is, because our knife is sharp, it's actually going to go in a straight line. When you're exerting a lot of pressure on your knife, you tend to push too hard and it zigzags down, and which you'll probably notice next time you cut anything with a blunt knife. So again, we can just have the tip of the knife down and we're pushing that knife all the way through it. And notice I'm always using the heel of the knife, okay? I'm not there chopping with the front. A, it's really unsafe and unstable, and B, I'm going to blunten that knife faster than if I just do that nice gradual movement. Now if you don't want to do circles and you want to maybe do some carrot sticks.
So you're letting the knife do the work.
You're
not trying
that's
to push
exactly
it,
right.
the knife's gradually
exactly right.
doing the work.
So we're going to stand it up. Again, nice sharp knife. We're going to hold it with our 3 fingers, our 3 middle fingers, and our thumb, just like Brett said before, we're going to tuck it behind. And what's happening is it's just holding it nice and steady, so it's actually not going anywhere. And so then again, I'm going to actually move right up to the tip because I want to exert a lot of pressure because I've got quite a lot to get through. I'm going to start 3/4 of the way from the tip. And as I push down with my hand, I want that tip to go all the way to the board. So I've got a nice firm grip on it, and I'm pushing down with my arm, my shoulders, really pushing it down. But I want to make sure that tip touches the board before the heel of the board does. And you don't need to go super fast when you're starting, just nice and slow. You want to get the action right, and then you can start going faster.
It's all about confidence. Once you've done it a few times, you have that confidence. You know where your fingers are, you know that you've got a nice sturdy board, sturdy carrot, and you just get used to it and you build up your speed.
So I've got 2 really nice even pieces of carrot there. Exactly the same motion that I said before, it was up high. Now we've got a little bit lower. We're holding it exactly the same way, and the tip of the knife's now down on the board, and it's the same follow through. We're just pushing it through. And there we have lovely even carrot sticks.
Next, we're moving on to a little bit more advanced. We're going to finely cut an onion. So what we've got is we've got a beautiful Spanish onion here. I've just cut the end off there. The trick is leave the root on. Okay, cut the little pointy end bit off there, but leave the root on. That helps hold it into place. Now what I do is I run the knife down there just so I can peel it evenly. Okay, so what we're going to do, now we've just clean that board so none of that peel goes into our onion. You've still got the root on. We cut the root in half where I cut, and you leaving that there. So that's, again, stable base. What you want to do, using your finger slightly bent as before, you want to cut on a slight angle. So when you get to the top, you're cutting straight down. But as you go, you're angling the knife slightly to compensate for the curved onion all the way around. So what we do is we go cut, and you want to go nice even cuts. And you can see when you get to the top, it's straight, and you're not cutting all the way through. There's about 1/2 centimetre that you haven't cut. And then we go all the way around nice and even. And you can see it's all still held together. Now, depending how small you want your dice, you push your knife nice and flat with pressure, but your fingers are on top. So if it did slip, the knife goes underneath your fingers safely.
You really can't do this with a blunt knife, can you?
No. See, so you gently push to there. Again, your fingers are always there. You've got to anticipate if something did slip, the knife goes there out of the way. And Camilla's far enough out of the way that I'm not going to stab her. Again, just gently pushing it down. Cutting motion, just as Camilla was doing before. Tip down to there and tip again. This last little bit, you can use it for stock, soups, and you've got your nice little dice without having to chop, 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 chop lots of times. And then this last little bit, you can just cut into little dice. And away we go.